This video was recorded on the 4th of June, 2022. That little clip you were just looking at was a video I took of some bearding on the second hive, the one in the background now. That one I find tends to be a lot more interesting to watch. There tend to be a lot more bees out on the landing board, and those ones are actually doing behavior called washboarding, where they're actually like cleaning the outside of the hive with their tongues, which is kind of neat. So this week I experimented with using my phone to record videos, and it is another option available to me. I was not tremendously thrilled with the result, but like specifically the field of view just didn't seem very good. It may prove to be useful in future to be able to do both. So going through the supers here, some more wax being drawn out here, still not nothing too exciting going on. June is a slow month for pollen. They are making some progress here, but it is slow going. There's not a whole lot of nectar for them to pull in right now. But you can see there are more bees up here that are working to draw wax than there have been in a little while. We have our first cut here. Something went wrong with the video, and now we're back. So starting on looking at some of the deep frames now. So here we've got more or less another full frame of honey. On the one side, you can see they've started capping it over. On the other side, it has not. They've not started capping it over, but I believe the majority of that was nectar on both sides. Now, I don't believe that either of the queens come into frame this week. Although I might have just forgotten, or maybe I'm missing something. There you could see there was a whole bunch of brood. That nice kind of arc that we expect to see. Here, I'm just removing some propolis from the shims. I'm not really sure what to call those. That part of the frame there, but yeah, that helps the frames be nice and tight, close together. If I remove that stuff, I should do a better job of it probably. So here another frame with that nice arc of honey above a brood space. Another cut, and here we're getting the second deep off the top, so I've apparently finished up with the upper deep. I want to say I'd already found the queen at this point. That was missed in the cut, but I had decided I wanted to see the lower deep to see what was going on, because I don't think it had actually been all that long since I'd been down here, but it kind of felt like it had been a while. Apparently there's nothing too interesting to see there, just a whole bunch of bees. Alright. Let's see something. What have we got here? Lots of capped brood that I'm not showing to the camera very well. This was one of the problems that I had with the with using my phone to record, was getting the frames into view was rather difficult. The GoPro's field of view seems to be much better. So another frame of largely brood, it looks like. And you'll notice that these, I'm getting into the original nuke frames now, and you'll notice that the comb is very dark. And that is just because the comb is old, and because it's been used for brood. The brood comb does tend to get darker much faster than the comb used for honey storage. I can't tell, the video that I'm looking at right now is somewhat difficult to see. I think we're looking at, well, we're definitely looking at some brood. There might be some nectar mixed in there, I'm sorry, not nectar, some pollen mixed in there as well. But the preview image that I'm looking at when I record these videos is not very good. So it can be difficult for me to tell sometimes what we're looking at. Removing some more propolis from the little strips of wood that keep the frames the right distance apart. So here, definitely, we've got some pollen. You can see the yellow in those hexes there. Another busy frame. Some brood, more brood on this side. This is good stuff. This just means the population of this hive is going to increase in the coming week or so here. I try to use the smoke to get the bees off of the edges of the frame where I grab them, so that I don't squish any with my fingers, and obviously killing them is not great, and also I'd prefer not to upset them and get them trying to sting my gloves. So So now we'll watch as I'm gonna, button this hive back up. It's fairly rare we get to see this because normally my video gives out. But that is one thing I will say for using the phone, is it does not overheat every 3 seconds. So it definitely allowed me to capture a lot more video. So yeah, try to use the smoke to get the bees off of the. Trying to use the smoke to get the bees off the edges of this deep, so that when I put the second deep back on, I won't be crushing bees. Inevitably, at least a few will get squished anyway. Just kind of the way it is. It's unfortunate, but inspecting does mean that bees are going to die sometimes. But the hope is that by keeping an eye on them, I'm preventing more serious disasters. So you can see I've been in a practice of putting the supers on top of the other hive while I'm inspecting the deeps. And I did that again the week after this, but I think I'm going to have to change that practice because the bottoms of the supers are covered in propolis and they're very sticky, and you can sort of see on the top of this on the cover, the outer cover that I just pulled off there, that it leaves behind a residue, and the residue is not like a really big deal, but when I lift up the supers to put them back, it commonly takes the lid with it. And you'll see in next week's video that this had some. Something happened that made me decide I needed to change this practice. So, and you can see even in this video that it partially lifted the cover off when I was trying to take it off and put it back in the other hive. So this is less than advisable, I would say, to put the supers on top of another hive while you're doing an inspection. So going through the super on this hive, this is the stronger hive. You can see they've started to draw out some comb. Hopefully you can see that there are places where the comb looks whiter, and those would be the places where there's comb and not just foundation. Oop, bumped the camera there. So yeah, here again, there's the white comb, and then on that first side you could actually see where the nectar was, and basically wherever there's bees, they're probably storing nectar or laying wax. Once again, so yeah, definitely this colony much further along. You can see the how dark it is inside some of those cells. That's going to be nectar. That's going to be the honey I harvest someday. So less progress as we're getting close to the edge. They do tend to focus on the center of the hive for where they focus their efforts. So I've seen all I want to see in the super now. Just kind of checking in to see how much progress they've made on drawing out wax. It's a very taxing job for them to draw wax. So for them to be doing as well as they're doing in June when the nectar is slow is pretty good. Very good to see. So, getting started on inspecting the upper deep, getting the frame holders put on here, and it's removing the first frame from a deep is always the hardest part. So I do tend to use the grabber for this hive in particular because they filled a lot of these frames with honey, and they can be quite heavy. And if the frames are stuck together, they can be very difficult to lift. So the grabber really works wonders for this. So I've decided to take a look at that edge frame there. This one, you can sort of see when I pulled it out, it is almost entirely filled with honey. And it's all capped too. Yeah, very similar on the other side. You can see there is some brood in the upper right there. But that's a lot of honey. That's why it can be difficult to lift some of these frames out. Here we've got a lovely frame of brood. This queen is excellent. I think she really does a great job of laying. I think better than the other queen. The queen in the other hive, I mean. But every hex you just saw there is going to become another bee. So that's several thousand more bees that will be added to the hive in a week or two. Some more brood there. There, I dropped my hive tool. Sometimes you'll see me do something like that. Usually if I'm making a strange gesture, it's because there's a bee on my glove and in a place I need it not to be. And I'm trying to get it off without crushing it. So here another frame of brood. Probably the gaps that you're seeing are either places where they've already hatched out or places where they have yet to cover over larva. I'm not really sure which. I can't see well enough on this preview video that I'm looking at. So coming up shortly here, we actually lose the camera. And then there will be a couple of videos that I took of the front of the hive. As you saw at the beginning of this video, there was a clip of some bees hanging out at the entrance. 5 or 6 days after this inspection, I took another video at the entrance, another couple of videos. And you'll get to see, you can sort of compare before and after with the clip at the beginning. There seems to be more activity. Yeah, here you can see even another frame of brood. The population of this colony is going to go up rather dramatically soon. And this is all in the second deep, so There might be even more brood in the first heap, but we don't get to see it in this video. Another brood, another frame of mostly honey, and there is some brood in there as well. Same thing on the other side. Look at that. That capped honey is great to see. So here we are. Here's the video looking at the front of that hive a few days later, less than a week later. So you can see the population has increased somewhat. And again, another video taken a few hours later, I think, than the last one. So great things happening with hive number 2 over here. Hive number 1 lagging behind, but they are still drawing out comb up there and eager to see what comes next.